the vittles?
Yes, ma'am.
Hot fried chicken and grits and what else y'all have? What else? Maybe I need to clean my glasses, huh? Well, thank y'all so much. My name is Robin Richard. I am so excited on behalf of my fine, smart husband, Lloyd, and I'm so glad to, I was supposed to pause for applause when I said fine, smart husband, but it never works. But anyway, okay, thank you. We are excited to welcome you to the Kukua Institute. In Swahili, Kukua means growth. And so our idea is to discover, share, celebrate, and grow stories about African Americans in art, science, technology, and history. And so there better not be no rated X deal. That's all I'm saying. Rita, there not be no rated X. XXX. We can do one X, but not three X's, okay? And so just a couple of safety things that we like to do. So does anybody know the number to 911? Anybody? Nobody? Nope, nobody? Nobody knows the number to 911. 1, Michelle. 2, okay, 2, okay, 3, okay, good. We won't need it, but just in case. Does anybody know CPR? 1, okay, we got, of course I got a nurse here. Good, we got 3 people. We won't need it, but it's always good to know. And then we have 2 fire extinguishers, 1 up top and 1 here. And then these are 2 exit doors. I feel like an airline stewardess here. And then our restrooms are, we always say here, I get in trouble, I don't care. P has no gender, use whichever restroom you want to. 2 back there, and just take breaks as you need to. So I like this. Well, the day is going to start with the name, and then we pray that it ends with the story, that whatever you came here for, that you can get something out of it. We're going to have a pretty aggressive day, but it's going to be filled with so much good stuff that you're going to be happy about. And so I'm so grateful that y'all are here. What else? Any questions so far? Okay, good. So let me tell y'all kind of what, so you're gonna hear about, hey Mark, you're right up here. You're gonna hear about, particularly when we do our case study, we're going to be doing a case study on a military person. It's a different military, a state military. And so you're gonna be doing that. So I went back to look at the military folks in my family, and one of my favorite is my Uncle Bill, who I only met one time. So this is my Uncle Bill here in this fine Navy uniform, and his mother and father, my great grandmother Nettie, and my great grandfather William Colding. And so we think that this is a little bit after he went in the military. And so this is how I met Uncle Bill. All this height I get from Uncle Bill and my great granddad. So this is Uncle Bill. This is my grandmother, his sister, his brother, their brother, Uncle Vernon, his wife, and my cousin, Frances, who we love to see coming to the country. I mean, we love to see her go when she came to the house, because she would always bring bushels of peas for us to shell. So we love to see Cousin Frances go. We love you, Cousin Frances, but we love to see you go. And then I like this picture because this shows how tall Uncle Bill was, and he died maybe a year after this. And so he was kind of the first person that I knew in the Navy, although I had an uncle who was Army colonel and tank commander. He was the first person that I knew that was in the Navy. And so this is, I just love this picture here, because it shows that not only this is our fine trailer on 25 acres of land. My dad used to say we were land rich and house poor. I don't know why, but anyway, we still got them 25 acres. I don't care. You can put a shack up there. I don't care. And so that just brings me joy. So thank y'all again so much for coming. Who came last year? 1, 2. Oh, nice. Well, put your hand down, John. We know you came last year. Well, welcome back, and for all you new ones, welcome. Any questions before we move on? Oh yeah, I'm the art and history. He's the science and tech. I forgot to tell y'all that. That's why we love each other. Okay, all right. And so please welcome Brian Wire, who is the president and CEO of the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber of Commerce. And it's his second year partnering, and so excited. And you have those good biddles because of Brian. So please welcome Brian Wire to do our welcome. Oh, I got to mic you up because we on CNN.
I'll be fast.
A K-N-N. It's K-I-N-N. I don't know how to do this. There we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Wire, the presidency of the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber of Commerce. We exist to help out small businesses, minority businesses, veteran women businesses to make sure they can get their economic fairness and chance and opportunity to grow. As a chamber, we mainly are focused towards some of those minority groups, but we also are focused with bigger corporations and non-minority groups who want to partner with minority groups in town. We were created in 2018, and the need came from the fact that 0 minority businesses are getting deals with the county and city. So the county and city help provide funding for us to ensure that we can provide a way to get businesses to get more involved with the city and the county and receive funding for them. I'll give you later some flyers to hand out. This is one of the events we have putting on with the county, how to do work with your local government. We haven't went to the city over the past week, and what we did was got people to talk to the city representatives, find out how can they get their companies to win bids, build relationships, and have things taking place. Genealogy is very important to us. I was just talking to Hill over here, and Hill's brother-in-law was my classmate in high school. We never met each other, but we got a connection from just a high school graduation day. So it's amazing how that happened. Last night we had an event, event with some realtors, and I met a young lady who was my cousin that I never knew was my cousin. We tied connections back to a great grandmother's, and we realized that we were actually related and were cousins. So we had a natural bond, a natural connection now, and we're going to help to revisit that relationship. My family's been in Pensacola for a long time. Robin has a picture of the Wire Coordinate Band, and Robin actually traced our history from the family here in town, where our family was bought as slaves to a Black female who bought our family as slaves to help free us and then make us be free citizens. Traced it back 1880s? 18. Yeah, 18. But Robin actually traced the house, and I never knew that history myself. I come from a big family of 6 kids, but all my older brothers and sisters had very strong relationships with their cousins, their aunts and aunties. I was on the younger ones, and I didn't have that connection. They knew people in town, and I didn't know who they were. But now knowing that history helps let me know who we are, what we're part of. So I'm so happy that Robin's putting this on. We love to partner with Robin and provide some food. One of the other shameless plugs I'm going to give you today is a little flyer here. We're having our annual meeting on March 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Brownsville Community Center. This isn't going to be your normal boring meeting or your normal type of gala. Come business casual, $25. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have some great soul food by Mr. Mac, if everybody know Mr. Mac's Food in town. And we're going to have some awards, dancing, and a chance to have a good time. The price is very reasonable because we don't want to have money be a barrier towards any of the events you can go to. I don't know if y'all been watching the prices of tickets lately for some of the events, but you're talking $125, $150. There was one I'm going to soon as $250 for a ticket, and I'm like, I just can't do that too often. So we're not having that barrier. $25 get you in. You'll be fed. You'll have some great music, get some awards, get some dancing in. Come and join us if you can on March 24th, and we'd love to have you there. Robin's going to do a little introduction about what Kukua does and what Pensacola Network does at the meeting as well. But thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. If you need anything, please let us know. And Robin, thank you again for having us.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. So, just as we get better with this, okay. Teniade Broughton, I'm not sure if she's going to make it. She's having some health challenges, and she wouldn't mind me telling you that. Is an archivist, one of my favorite archivists. I only know 2, but don't tell her that. She's one of my. This is Amir Suleiman, who, if you saw Dave Chappelle's piece, the 846, about that, so he is the one who penned that for Dave Chappelle. And so what Tiniade was going to talk about was getting to your why. Why are you doing this work? And so I saw this, his quote in another presentation. You will be someone's ancestor, act accordingly. And so this is a piece that he did. So it's just a few minutes, but I want to play this for you.
Go to website you love.
Oh, I got the free YouTube.
Read your brand, your opportunity, your breakthrough.
Darken our spirits, wrap it into harmonies for our children's children. So it was what they were that all against them, all gratitude, this divinity. The way of songs, I shout. Son, surrounded by him, to a life, what it brings away, strange habits, keep on claim, and to bring son of love and soul, and God gave him a piece of those with him, and the morning Jesus gave such. You will be something, Jesus. I will give fear no breath, no order. Fear is not anymore of God, it's not anymore of God. For all this time, that has already altered his tree and chopping at feet for your throat. There is no chopping in that. And he will, he's going to exactly. So I call you. There are women in your life who are alive in other living. My God, I'm listening, but I'm still believing, still more active than active. But you dare let it get out with you. What a shame to let it out with you. You will be someone that exists. For God's sake, you will claim that you have played for your purpose. You will not be brought back to us. For the most high, you will be someone that exists.
I'm gonna text all of them. So these chairs are a little bit more comfortable, but if you want to, at the end there.
the guards. What's their names?
Garfield.
The Garfield guards. And I'm sure you'll talk more about these
But I
people.
want you to stay up there because we need to make a presentation while you're up here since you have to go. I know you didn't expect this. But it was.
I'm here
it was
till
a nice
noon.
trip.
I'm here till noon.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead then. Okay.
So when I think about the Garfield,
I wasn't trying to
guards,
rush you. I just didn't want to miss the opportunity.
or the fact that here it is, they had to get a organization or a military. What's the name? Like
The militia.
the militia, just to be able to, after Reconstruction, to help these people get by, to help these people vote, to help these people live in the rights that they fought for. So not only in the war did you do it, but then you have to put a militia up to solidify it, right? So this is the responsibility that I was born with. And it's not just me, it's the responsibility that you were born with too. Even if you were born in 1950, you still have this responsibility of making these people's dreams our reality. So think about that. Think about the pressure of that. And as we learned today about all the different genealogy aspects that Robin will show us, think how, like this lady told me, we were waiting for you. You don't have time to waste. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, a microphone. Okay. So after the next break and before the next one, we'll do it then. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm so grateful that our next presenter chose to come back. He always, every time I call him, he go, "What you want?" Can you say hi first, John? And then I'll tell you what I want. It never works. He always says yes. So Dr. John Beasley is a member of the West Florida Genealogy Society and was a former vice president and just a good friend, a great friend, even if he asks me what I want.
Y'all know Robin, right? She calls and she says, yes, can you do this? But she will say hello.
Feed you. I will feed you.
Oh, and she'll
There
give
you
you a little food.
How, do you want this on the stand there? Can either do the up or down button or the, uh-oh, I just did something.
I can't believe it.
There we go. It'll come back.
Well,
There we go. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm doing something wrong. Tech.
tech support.
Oh, production, sorry.
Oh.
It's stuck on that screen. I hit something. So I'm gonna move out the way because I did something wrong.
I'll just hit the up and down button. Oh, there we go. Hey, John Beasley. I've been doing genealogy for quite a while. How'd that get there? Yeah, we only just one. Y'all don't even know what the next slide is yet.
John, let me set it up for you. You got the mic on?
Oh. So now we have a little. Well, another shameless plug. I am in the Genealogy Society. I've been in the Genealogy Society probably at least 20 years. When I first started doing genealogy, well, let's see, my father died in about 1993, And in 1995, I got curious about what about the tree because I realized I really didn't know that much about my father's side. So I started my research, and having lots of degrees, I thought I knew how to do research. I figured I could do this. It would be a piece of cake. Well, genealogy research is different from biological research or just doing a paper. So that is why I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest that you join a genealogical society. You will have refresher courses like what I'm talking about right now, but they'll take a whole lot longer. They'll tell you lots of stuff, how to approach genealogy, how to make a research plan, how to what places to look. Uh, uh, Lots of stuff, lots of reading. Uh, let's see. Other reasons to do genealogy. You guys can't see over there, can you? To get an understanding of your personal identity, to for health awareness. I didn't know. Well, I have an autoimmune disorder. Luckily, nobody else in my family has it. But when I started doing research, I found I have a niece with sickle cell anemia. And then I kept looking, and there was a woman who was actually my supervisor when I was the summer after 10th grade. She was my supervisor. I did not know that this woman was my father's first cousin. And nobody told me because everybody thought I knew. And it turns out that she had a grandchild that had sickle cell anemia. That grandchild, both of those grandchildren with sickle cell are buried in that same cemetery. But that was part of the research proof that helped me prove that people were related to me, and it makes me more curious about people. Other little funny things. Ever met anybody with extra fingers or extra toes? Well, right here is the nub of a six finger on this hand and a six finger on that hand. My father and his identical twin brother both had them. And they decided, well, they'll put the thread on my father's and cut his off, but they didn't take them off on his brother. I don't know why, because when you're doing manual labor, trying to put gloves on with extra fingers, that's quite a hassle. But from the genealogy, from the DNA stuff, 1 in 4 of the children of people with extra fingers will have those extra fingers. So that is another trait that I look for when I am doing my research. I'm asking for sickle cell, asking anybody got sickle cell in your family, anybody got extra fingers. I have 2 daughters. One of my daughters had the extra fingers. And it's a helpful little hint. You want to know about other diseases that would be passed on through genetics. Now, when you start talking heart disease, high blood pressure, essential hypertension is pretty much covered this crowd. Another reason people do genealogy is connecting with the past. If you like the detective part of you, you will find stuff. And if you're a good detective, you'll find even more stuff. The preserving family heritage. How many of you have this special dessert that that grandmother used to make, or that mama used to make, or Aunt so and so made. Well, I know my Aunt Johnny made those great lemon icebox pies, and everybody knew that that was her specialty. So nobody else tried to make that because theirs couldn't compare to hers. But you want to preserve that kind of history. Uh, it makes your relatives, your ancestors, more human, more personable. Somebody that you think you'd know, that you like, you get along with. Uh, and when you start talking to people trying to get information, uh, most people will tell you, "Well, I don't know anything." Well, what you ask Aunt Sally, do you remember the last thing you got a whipping for? And who else got a whipping with you? Who were they laughing when you got your whipping? What were the rules about getting whippings? Because in most black households, it was uh, this person's getting the whipping, but you better stand over there and laugh, and you better be quiet about whether you're laughing or you're going to get some too. Uh, but you ask stories, questions like that, open-ended questions, so that they can tell you stuff, and if they start telling you stuff and other people around and they hear it, they're going to start remembering stuff too. And all these little things that they're putting together, those turn into big hints, and help you find more on your tree. Finding relatives. I love Facebook almost more than I like the census, because on Facebook right now, people wish folks happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday to all these people, and uh, they will tell you in many cases which birthday it is for this person. So when they tell you which birthday it is for that person, you can figure out the month, the day, the year for that person's date of birth. And you're not going to always get that when we go to reunions. I am the one that's sitting there. I'll have a computer, or I'll have family group sheets, and I am doing that, and I'm going to do that first. I'm not going to go around and meet people. I'm going to find somebody that I don't know, that I hadn't met, and we're going to fill out your family group sheet. And let's see, you have your family group sheets there. You need dozens and dozens of family group sheets, but you only need one or two pedigree charts. Anybody that got married, or anybody that had children, any marriage or any children, that goes on a separate family group sheet. If somebody has children with more than one mate, they go on separate family group sheets. You can't have two fathers on the same page. Definitely can't have two mothers, and that part is easier to figure out. I'm a puzzle person. I like solving puzzles, and genealogy is all puzzles. Educational part. When you do your research, you have all this history. You try to put in focus what happened during this time period when these people were alive. And if you'll talk to a lot of older people, especially if you have relatives that don't read and write well, they will have much better memories, and they will give you oral histories, and they will tie them to dates easily. Let's see. Black genealogy is just like white genealogy, with the exception, you will have Freedmen Bureau labor contracts if you're lucky. They were not legally required to be registered with courthouses, but sometimes they did because back in 1865, it was 50 cents or $1 to register that in that county courthouse. And that was a good little bit of money at the time. You'll also, that go the wrong way? Oh. There's the 1870 is the basic first brick wall most blacks will have, because that's the first time the blacks appeared in the census. There are instances where free blacks were entered in the census, but the percentage of the population of free blacks is much, much lower. What else I need to say? And I'm from Mississippi. The marriage records were separated by race, and that is the only time segregation has actually helped me. It makes it easier because those records are big books, and when they do the digitizing of records, they will, when they say we digitize the marriage records, they are usually talking about the white marriage records, not the black ones. So if you find the black ones have been done, that's great. Also, cemeteries. I love cemeteries. But cemeteries are just like obituaries. I got to take them with a grain of salt because the stuff on those stones are not always accurate. But people usually do the best they can. How many seconds I got left, Robin?
1 minute.
1 minute. Do your pedigree charts, family group sheets for everybody. If that person's in your family, they should appear on a family group sheet. They should appear as a child. If they have children, they should appear as a parent. Let's see. I always talk to elders, anybody older. Sometimes some neighbors around them knew stuff, grew up with your folks, and they knew stuff too. Documents. In genealogy, documents are the most important thing. But when you find something on one document, that's great. But you've got to find something to corroborate, because one document by itself is not proof, because it can be wrong. And if you can find more than one wrong with the same wrong information, then that's probably what the person was living with. That's that beautiful pedigree chart. When you're doing a pedigree chart, filling out, the father always goes on, the male goes on top, female goes on the bottom. That's just by convention. We're not being sexist. These family group sheets, they normally have space for about 4 or 5 kids. If there are more kids in that family, attach another, and keep those family group sheets together. Fill them out as completely as you can. That information will help you down the road. Spelling is important, but I have found 8 ways to spell my last name in official documents. So just because people don't spell it exactly like you spell it does not mean that that person's not related to you. Word of mouth, those oral interviews, a great place for your sources. Family Bibles, they are usually close to correct. Personal diaries. Every now and then people will write diaries. Census records. Census records are great, but remember, the person writing the stuff down, I think the only requirement to be a census taker was that you had transportation and you could write. It didn't say that you had to spell, be able to spell, or to have great handwriting. It is great to know cursive because the records were done by hand, and sometimes they put lots of swirls on letters in the earlier days. Then around 1910, I ran across my first bad handwriting census. And the part that I didn't run into, the record was faded. There are special censuses. Census records are done every 10 years, years ending in 0. But in the state of Florida, they did a between census, state census. So from 1845, 55, 65, 75, blah, 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 to 1945, they did those in between records. Alabama did in 1866 and in 1907. The rest of them are those on those years. And everybody knows about the 1890 census. Most of it was lost because of not the fire that they had in the Commerce Department where they keep the records, but from all the water that was dumped in there to put the fire out. And you know what it's like when water gets on pages. Census records. When you look at a census record, there are all these rows across the top with different information. A lot of times they will tell you occupation, education level. They always tell you male, female, age, and race or color. Excuse me. Most of the time they will. Sometimes they won't. In the 1870 census, most of the people are listed by initials, the family members. The head of household may have his first and last name, and then everybody else initials. All right, Robin, I'm running. Birth certificates, death certificates. Oh, I love death certificates because they tell you what a person's buried. They will also tell you cause of death in many cases, but be a little skeptical of that because they put heart disease down for just about anything. Marriage licenses in Florida, you have clerks of the court will do chancery clerk and circuit clerk stuff. In Mississippi and Alabama, you have chancery chancery court separate from circuit court. Chancery clerk does deeds, wills, some of those. What's it? Hospitalization, mental hospital admissions or sentences. Marriage records are done by the circuit clerk's office, and they do the voting too. Oh, but there's just so much. Wait, okay. Newspapers. Look at newspapers. There's a free site called Chronicling America. Chronicling America is free newspapers. Newspaper.com is a great place, and you can search just about everywhere. All right, Robin.
Let's end it there.
But
we will have this opportunity. John will stay here during the case, in our case study, but also that gives great credence to join the genealogy society and go. So let me stop. But I'll get everything. So y'all, all right. Thank you, Dr. John.
I want to thank.
And don't go too far. Tiniane, can you come up? Go, you can have a seat for that.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
We have to make some concessions here, so now I don't want you to go too far.
But I got so much.
I'm gonna do it this way. All of y'all are special, but we do have an extra special guest.
You got your mic on?
Do I have my mic on? You're so techy, man. The subject of our case study is Captain Isaiah Richardson, if you remember from the email, and I am so excited to have two of his descendants here today. And I'm going to tease Amanda. One is more special than the other. Amanda, I live here. He doesn't, huh? So we're going to ask our Mr. Fred Richardson to come up, please. You can leave your stuff there. You can leave your stuff there. We're going to do a formality. You can leave your things there. This is a different, yeah. We're ready for you. We're just not ready for that part yet. So this is, you'll read that one.
Be it hereby known to all that as on the 28th day, February 2026, been appointed in honor of the city of the city of Kukua, a recognition thereof has been presented to the citizenship, signed by Mayor of the City.
Can you turn the certificate around and let's get a picture? You turn it around and let's get a picture here real quick. Thank you. We got one more. Wait, one more. This is Tiniade. You know, I always ask her for extra, even though she does not represent this district. I always ask her for extra. But our representative here, Allison Patton, is out of town and couldn't be here. So we won't read the letter, but she sent you a personal letter. She is the council president and sent you a special letter. So we wanted to present that as well. So we can get a picture. Yeah. Let's get a picture of both of those there. There you go. Uh-oh. You got. There you go. We'll make it work. There you go. All right. And one final one, and we'll leave this up here, but we provided you with a picture, a framed picture of your ancestor, Dr. What? Can you wait, Amanda? Can you wait? There you go. Thank you. Okay, we can put that back. We'll put that back and you can get that at the end. His ancestor is Captain Isaiah Richardson right here.
Oh.
Yeah, so those are yours.
Yeah.
Those are yours.
Okay.
But we'll put that right here. Thank you so much for doing that. I just wanted to make sure because, and then if I can get you back up here and then Mark, because Mark has to leave right after his presentation for another engagement. Hill, can I get you up here too? And John, you get all our presenters up here. We just want to do a quick photo because one has to leave. Brian, can I get you in there, please? Amanda, can you get him? Thank y'all for this concession. We'll make up time, I promise you, no worries. All right. Thank y'all so much. Let's give them all a hand. Let's appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. All righty. Mark, you have yours on want to plug into. And if you need to take a break, again, the restrooms are there. And okay, nope, I got it. Yep, it's there. Just say okay. Oh, do you have it on what is that? No, how you duplicate your slide. He doesn't have it on how to duplicate your slide. Yeah, you have it on extend. There you go. Tell me when I get the okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Where's that at? What's this one?
Okay. We'll do better when we get Oprah money. So, but right now we got
You
Kukua
introduce
money.
you. I just introduced myself.
Oh, yeah. Every time I call Mark, he goes, Robin Woods Rashard, what you want? Like you and John are cousins, huh?
I know.
So my good friend Mark Hopkins is an amazing man, a veteran. You know him. I think the way that I met him, you just come out of, you just retired from the military and was a Blue Angel photographer. So some of those amazing pictures that you see is because of Mark. And then he is is now a retired professor from Pensacola State College in graphic design. And I always like to brag that he's the reason that Pensacola State College got that 4-year degree. So, so yeah.
Period.
Yeah, but now retired though, and still working on behalf of veterans. So this is Mark Hopkins.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. As Robin said, she calls and you come and you answer the request immediately. And this is about photography, so I'm going to point right at that piece right there. When we look at that piece, it actually tells us a date as to when that photograph was taken. But I'm pointing that out because she made me hang that myself. And it was on a ladder that was about as tall as me. So you got long arms. So I'm standing on the top of the ladder, hanging that banner. But it's an interesting photograph. So when we look at that photograph, it's mainly about how do I be able to tell if I don't know those dates on those two young ladies there? When I look at that, what do we see when we look at that photograph that could identify timing or when it actually happened? But in this case, we actually know the date. And I know for a fact that a lot of you guys at home have photographs that are in the sideboard drawer. Yeah? Am I right or wrong? And then what do we do with those photographs when we get them? Put them in a box. Oh, okay. And then what else do you do with them? You write on the back of them. That gives you an idea of who it is, when it was taken. This happens to be from my nephew, who is, and his brother, who has passed recently, but they're in the back of my dad's house. And I bring that up to only say, be careful when you're writing on the back of these photographs. For those of you who have already written on them, you can't do very much about them. But in the end, you have to be able to not press too hard, because my mom's handwriting is indented inside the photograph. So just be careful, or use the proper pen when you're trying to do that. But that's a good way to identify people that are in those photographs, if you can remember. This is a picture of my dad. When we look at that photograph, what can we tell about that photograph that helps us identify not only who that is, but what's in it? He's wearing he's wearing clothes. I'm glad to know that. He looks aged. I'm in the photograph because a friend of mine used this to take that picture. This is a really powerful tool. And then you have to archive those photographs so that you can keep them to pass that on also. Uh-oh, running slow here. But in that photograph, I can tell who my dad is. But also in that photograph, you see that old mirror in the background there? How many of you can recognize with those big old mirrors that were in our houses? You can tell through that helps you out too, to tell timing and when it was. And that's a recent photograph. But I talked to my dad this morning. I said, Dad, when did you get to Philadelphia? Because that's where I'm from. He goes, we came up here from High Point, North Carolina in 1944, right before the war started. So that gives me some kind of idea of his family genealogy coming back there. And one more thing before we go on, Mr. Genealogy, I take students when I was teaching to different types of war ceremonies. Fortunate for me, I sat next to the guy who owned Ancestry.com. And I said, how can you tell my genealogy? And this is what he said. I don't know how true it was or not. They bought all of the slave records. That company has all of the slave records. You could look that up if you want to, but that's what he told me on how he could trace my genealogy. That's a true story. If we look at this photograph, what do we see that can identify when it was and how we can tell who the people that in, because they're all my friends there. And then I'm very creative. So they weren't pointing at me, they were pointing at the situation that was happening in Congress that day. I have a good friend who owns an apartment 2 blocks from 1600. And so I said to them, oh, I fooled them. They don't want me in the picture. So I just jumped right in the picture to make it look like they were pointing at me. But when we look at that, I have a lot of modern clothing on, and so does my friend. We could tell that it was in a warm climate also. And I'll keep moving. That guy has a lot to do with this photograph. And me and he'll go way back for a long period of time, and he'll probably tell you that story. But that's a photograph that I took in the 1980s when I was attached to the squadron. It's actually you love it when you be able to be a photographer and get your work published. That photograph is in the history of naval aviation. It's a book that Hill had a lot to do, and it's about this thick. So him and I were working together as I was working graphic design in the Naval Air Museum there. And I said, if you're going to do that, then could I get at least one photograph in? And he gave me that. But you can actually see that I'm in the photograph too. But there's things that even in that photograph will tell you about time, because there's a lot of things that happen in that squadron. And this was the crew. In this photograph, I can tell things about that particular era during that time frame when they flew that type of jet. Because a lot of people think that the Blues will have priority over a brand new aircraft. That aircraft is old as dirt. They just bring them in, gut them, make them flyable. But on the edge of this aircraft there, the pilots were having trouble, so they built this thing that sits on it that's called a Lex fence, which to give them more maneuverability in the air to do all those moves that you actually see there. But that's me, my boss, who is the best naval officer that I ever worked for. We are still friends today. That's Rusty Holmes, that's Jeff, and that's what I used to call Big Larry, that worked in the public affairs office, and we handled all their information. I got my hat on backwards. A lot of people will see me with my hat on backwards and my glasses on. I went to a event for us a few years back. Every 2 years we have a Blue Angel reunion. And someone said to me, because celebrities hang around the squadron every now and then, who do I look like? Everybody thought it was. This is me and my friend when I did a presentation across the street there, and I'm talking about graphic design. So in that photograph, we know where that is, but you can look at the people in that photograph and tell things about what's going on, and then that time period, because that place is not that old. So we know that for a fact. I often look at this photograph, and I explained it to Robin the other day about what I thought about this photograph. And these are, I have some older ones, so I'm gonna move along a little bit faster. But I created those posters after my talk to give away to people. And I often wonder whether those people will hold on to those posters and hang them or even put them in a frame. Because that tells time also. I was a very young man when I was introduced to Miles Davis and Nina Simone working in a jazz club in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So they were like my heroes in jazz because I would leave the kitchen, go up and take them their whatever they ordered. And I didn't know how, at that time at 15 years old, how important it was that I needed to get an autograph. So I walk in and, Miles's voice is a lot deeper than mine. Son, just put it over there. And I just walked out. And I told my dad that. But that picture, Robin has a cousin. That's Nina Simone. She looked just like the image from that profile. I always tease her about that. But that does tell us about time. Let's go if I can get my nephew in this photograph here. We can tell a lot about that photograph. Everybody knows the guy who's been in every movie since I don't know when. So you can look at that and say, okay, we know who that is. We also know that he's a short person. But my nephew is a caterer in Philadelphia, and he actually catered an event for Kevin Hart, because Kevin Hart doesn't live too far, and that beautiful young lady is my daughter. That's when they were living overseas for a while, and she wanted to go to London, and she wanted to dress up. My daughter should be a model somewhere, but that's Eden. I often wonder in this photograph, because you could tell stuff here also. But that's my mom, my nephew, and my dad. And there's Donnie Cochran in that photograph too. But also the clothing that they have on could give you a significant idea of when that was. Yeah? And I often wondered whether there was the postman that came by the house one day, because I'm 12 inches taller than my dad and my mom. Or the Marine that might have went down the road there. That's me and my oldest daughter. And trust me, in this photograph, you can tell a lot from that photograph. If you look into it deep, the little sideburns that I had then, I actually had hair then. The picture that's on the test, the pillows, the furniture. Remember the furniture that you had back in the day that you couldn't sit on at grandmom's house? Yes. And this is me doing things for students out at the Naval Air Museum where we used to hold shows. And you can also tell that that's more of a modern photograph also. And I'm going to try to skip through something. That's an article. This was a situation at Corey Field. You can tell by his uniform, the clothing that those gentlemen come on. The Navy actually let us wear goatees with no problem. That was across the board. So in that, you can tell that that team that the guy standing there with his hands crossed wouldn't let me play because I actually worked on another base. So what I did is I won the one-on-one tournament, and they didn't win because of situations there. But long story short, I ended up the winner. It's my grandson. And my daughter often says, Dad, he's a dark version of you. But he plays soccer, and he's pretty good at soccer right now. He's taller than I am now. We kind of know what that photograph's about. And I'm going to get into a little bit of history here also. Tuskegee Airmen, you can tell by those uniforms, and that's who that is. But I can almost guarantee you that living down here in the South, there's a lot of people that are connected to that group of gentlemen. There's my dad and my sisters. This is an interesting photograph. The guy on the right there, on the right is one of my Navy buddies from London. And we know who that is. I got you, Robin. But that photograph was taken at the church in Memphis, Tennessee. Family, real good friend of mine who passed from cancer over in England. Dunn's River Falls. And what we have in this photograph here is my wife is family is from Jamaica. So you always, if you've not been to Jamaica, even if you don't want to climb the falls because they're real dangerous and slippery, something that you can look at also. This group of young gentlemen are all played for the same coach that I played for in Philadelphia. There's about 3 of them who actually became professional basketball players, including the guy in the front. I played for him, but you can also tell from this photograph of the style of uniform, I was one of the 12 best players in the Navy at 2 years in a row. But that's Alcatraz behind me. I played for John, and so did that guy. We used to come to John's practices, and he was there, but just a young toddler. Very important. And that's me telling a story about want to become a professional ball player, but we all can. So when I used to teach students, I would let them know, these are the awards that I got, but look at me now, I'm a college professor. So that was important to me. A group of friends. This is an interesting photograph because I took it. And if you guys remember the movie Devotion, if you watched it all the way to the end, because a lot of us don't like to watch the credits, at the end of that movie is that photograph. But DJ, Bruce's son, takes the credit for it. So I called Bruce. I said, Bruce, you made me take that photograph that day. Where's the credit? He goes, that's right. Him and I have a connection because we're both from Philadelphia and could have went to the same high school. Looking at this, what would we say about this photograph? Clothing makes a difference. Where would you think it might have been taken? New York. Anybody else? During the 60s. Yeah? It's actually the migration of Jamaicans to Great Britain. All of these are. Similar to the one that Robin has. You know who that is. But in that photograph, are you noticing things that are different? Everybody knows who that is, right? No? He sung very, very well. Say, Paul Robeson. Look at the Germans and the German uniforms in that. That tells you significant stuff about when it was and how he. No, because it's my presentation. You did like this 2 minutes ago.
So if you don't know from research, if you don't know Paul Robeson did when you see the German uniform, what you can do is you can newspaper search to see when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have information from our case, you can say, just do a newspaper site that send you Paul Robeson and then like Germany or something like that. And then see when he was there, and we'll give you that so that you match stories to
Right.
that's one question.
Or you could just buy the book. Oh, that too. This is interesting because I took art classes in England. My degrees are from the Camberwell College of Arts in London, both master's and bachelor's degree. And we used to do these types of drawing, but interesting to just see this young man sitting there and they're using him as a model. So you can tell that that's an older photograph also. And then the way that he's dressed, I often thinking that the way he's dressed is a little bit different. I like this guy because we're wearing the same glasses. The only reason why I put that photograph in. They're Churchills is what they're called, Winston Churchills. There he is again, Paul Robeson. But in the background, that tells you a story also. This is probably on a movie set. Wallpaper will tell you different. This is the migration of Jamaicans to Great Britain during the early 50s. My wife's mom and dad were a part of that because he could build. Know who that is? It's Eartha Kitt. Very, very, very important in her career that she, just like most of the black entertainers, got treated a lot better in England than they did here in the United States. That sign blew my mind. Protesting during the 1950s. There's designers taking a lot of information from these photographs and designing clothes, just like what we see here. That was on the. Here's an interesting, if you look at this, you would say what? Morehouse, but Morehouse now or Morehouse then? Then? No. That's Ralph Lauren's version of Morehouse. Yeah, but it does look like what someone just said. More modern. This is my favorite artist. Basquiat, Jean-Michel. His paintings, I saw one of his paintings in London for the first time, and it sold for £1.5 million. Very pretty. Huh? Oh, he probably sold that for maybe about $30,000 at the most. His paintings during his lifetime, the highest was 30 to 40 and maybe 50. But if you collected it, you made a lot of money. Eddie Murphy owns the Marvin Gaye version of, you see Marvin Gaye? That famous thing of who's the artist? Anybody? He owns that. He paid $50,000 for it. It's $16 million now. Ernie Barnes. So these are some diaper dandies. Me teaching a young man how to salute. This kid came up to us and just blew us away. We gave him a t-shirt, a lithograph, and he wanted to learn how to salute. And me and my friend often say, wow, I wonder if that guy ever joined the Navy. My high school sweetheart, this is a very dear friend of mine who was beautifully killed. She was the inspiration. The reason why I put her in here, I did a poster for her. It's hanging in the gym. Carla Williams. They retired her jersey and everything. Me and a pastor friend of mine that grew up in Philadelphia, he came down to Oakwood College to speak, and I surprised him, even though I told him he was going to be there. But you can tell by the way we dress, and then the backgrounds in that photograph were done digitally. So it's a modern photograph. And I'll keep going. So Robin, that's a great photograph there. That is a really good photograph. That's me. And, the cars set it off, don't it? Yes, the cars. And if I blew it up, you see way back in the back there, that's my dad getting ready to open up the trunk so I could put my gear in and him take me off to meet our scoutmaster to go on a 2-week trip. Was the best trips in the summertime. Oh my God, getting out of the city for 2 weeks, swimming every day, 3 meals a day. That almost gave me the idea that we were in the military, but not. But it was a lot of fun. Barbecues. I think my dad was posing for that photograph. But you could tell by this photograph that it's in a particular city that had these kind of steps. And I guarantee that nobody could probably guess where that was or use technology to find out where it was. So I'll just say again, who said it? Yes, ma'am. That's Baltimore. Because I'm doing this, Robin. And just about every last one of them have about a series of 3 to 4 marble steps. And that's when you used to go outside. Our kids don't go outside now. this was a retouched photograph of my mom and my youngest sister. So photography takes a toll in the way that you can utilize it. Even before this was done by hand, not by machines. That's how old that photograph is. That's my grandmother. You can tell by the way she's dressed that it's an earlier time period than what we're in right now. And that pocket, just see what I was going to say. There you go right there. The way she's holding that pocketbook makes a difference in the way you guys hold y'all pocket. What does this say? When you go to the store, can I wear that bag? Versus, can I try it on? Can I try that on? There's Eartha Kitt. You can tell a good bit of history in this photograph, mainly not only because of the bicycle, because of Life magazine and where it's positioned in that cover. That'll give you an idea. That's my grandmother and me. Wallpaper on the wall gives this photograph away. Who puts wallpaper on the wall nowadays? There you go. My dad, my two daughters, and my sister. This is one of Robin's favorite because she always talks about reading books. This is a British library in Birmingham. Brand new building. This is a self-portrait of me, but it looks like a movie scene, doesn't it? I always visit this photograph with just listening to some jazz music and watching that photograph over and over and over again. But I was on a double-decker bus, and if you look real close, you could see the image of myself in that photograph. So that's what I call one of my self-portraits. And I'll keep moving on so Robin don't beat me up. Donna Cochran, go ahead, I'm listening. This was an interesting photograph that I took at the Naval Air Museum when we had an exhibition there. When I told one of the students, I said, hey man, you can get more information from this guy. This happened to be a Japanese soldier who was going to school here at NAS. And the kid was kind of stubborn about it. I said, no man, he's checking out your information to see if it's correct. But if it isn't, here's the time to jot some notes down to learn a little bit more. And I had to force that kid to get up to do that. It's the only guy in the world who had a horn like that. Dizzy. Sisters and mom, my family. This is where technology takes over. So you can tell that that's a different time and date also. I love this photograph because the student said to me, man, it's so great to be able to have a professor who enters competition just like he forces us to do, and win an award also. So it was very influential when he said that. Matter of fact, he used to work with Hill at the Naval Air Museum. And this is the kind of awards we used to win. But once again, if this was showed 20, 30 years from now, the students that are in this photograph could identify what that is or by their clothing. Yeah? This is the reward. I get to take them to Miami and I get to drive 9 hours there and then 9 hours back. They're okay with that, but that was what I used to do. No, that was a selfie. Oh. There you go. The first automatic door in Great Britain. That's where my daughter's standing. And how it worked is your weight, you stepped up on it. It's on Audley Street, which was right down the street from where I used to work overseas. Kevin Hart's neighborhood, that's the 56 trolley. And I lived in that same neighborhood. Sisters and brothers. Remember the sideboard where I told you could find any photograph that your mom and them took on those old Polaroids? That's exactly it right behind it. So furniture, when you're looking at these older photographs, can identify the timing and maybe even who the people are. It's my youngest brother. Yeah, you folks used to go to the cabarets. That's what that is right there. Some people laughing there, but that 12 years of school, not one absence. But you can tell by that, that's my sister Diane, by the way she's dressed. And once again, look how she's holding that bag. This was very fortunate. This was at her funeral here. It's the chef, that's England. That's my youngest daughter. And so if you did your research, if you look at what she's holding, it's a wooden doll that was made in Ocho Rios, Jamaica. Anybody? Navy uniform. A lot of people don't know this. He played the saxophone with Miles Davis. See if any, That's John Coltrane. No one knew, and I found that out myself, that he was actually in the Navy. It looks like everybody knows who that is, but you don't know where it was. So what identifies that is that we're in smaller hallways and stuff like that. But Roy was overseas signing autographs, and I heard about it in the newspaper. And him and I used to play basketball on NAS years ago. Went upstairs, he came out the room, goes, man, what are you doing over here? I love to travel, and because I do, I ran into him, and he took a photograph with me and my daughter. Best fisherman in the world, caught it right off the coast of Panama City. He'll tell you that, but then he'll prove it. And I'll skip through some of these so I can get to the end. Oh, that was interesting there. See history, she knows. This guy created some incredible sculpture, and he had an exhibition at our college. So who do I call? Because it was more about our heritage. Robin, you need to come. Oh, Mark, what? Come down there and did it. This is in the museum downtown. It used to be called the T.T. Wentworth. I actually sent that photograph to Kenny G when he got on Instagram. He said, I remember that clearly. It was the reason why he got that right. I own this hotel. It's in San Francisco. I got told that when I was young, as I went into the dentist to get some dental work done. He wanted to calm me down. A lot of my friends thought I was lying when I said it. So in this case, I'm on the radio talking about the squadron. We were doing a show in San Francisco, and the public affairs officer from the Mark Hopkins Hotel comes down to the pier right in front of Alcatraz, looks me up, and just gives me a tour of the Mark Hopkins Hotel. That guy happened to be a British guy who owned that hotel. So that kind of connects me to where my name came from in that sense. Selfies before selfies. You know, everybody takes a selfie now. I took my 35 millimeter camera because I had flown that aircraft several times, taken pictures, but never took one of myself to get people to believe that I did that. How you can tell, a lot of people, oh, Mark, you was getting ready to fly. No, I've got glasses on. I've got no harness on. Got short sleeves on. You have to get in a flight suit that's fire resistant just in case something happens. But I love that photograph because a lot of people will think that I'm getting ready to fly. And I was like, nah, I did do some, but I didn't do as much as I wanted to. Thank you. I've got to go to church, which is why I'm dressed this way. I really appreciate your time. If you guys got any questions? I enjoy doing this stuff. If I had more time, I'd spend and I'd ask for like, yes, ma'am. No, F-18. And they fly the Super Hornet now, which is a lot louder than that aircraft there. I retired. You see how I smiled on my face here that when you retired. Yeah, I am retired twice, the Navy and, yeah. So when people find out when you've done things in the community, just give her, she's got my information. And I'll feel free to help anybody. That's just me as I am. I've always had friends that would tell me that Mark, you live a life of service, and I totally believe that. While I was in the Navy, I used to do things that a lot of young people wouldn't do for 2,500 sailors and Marines. And my friend told me years later, he goes, Mark, you're still serving God's people. And I went, what are you talking about? So you get out and you work at the Naval Air Museum, you go to the college, work in marketing, and then you say, I want to teach. So I go visit every now and then. Someone says to me, hey, we don't like you in marketing, so we're going to put you there. So I proved them all wrong. And just recently, one of the ladies who was significant in letting me go wrote a poem about my artwork. And I told her I still use that. She goes, oh my goodness. And then she said something to me that really hit home as, Mark, you were bored in that job because my creativity goes beyond just photography. I've done so many other things and presentations for people. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, he taught me how to pottery. That's why you saw that picture of him in there. I do a lot of things. I believe in working with my hands. Robin is always trying to steal my leather bags that I make. And I have a lot of stuff to talk about, but I know Robin has got time and Bill's probably up next. Any other questions? Because the choir just texted me saying, Mark, where are you?
Let's take about a 2-3 minute break. We'll set up for the next one to come back and be on the way out. Councilman Richardson.
Oh, and I got one more thing. Purchase this book on leadership. Right at the bottom, on the partners with an admiral, a captain, a judge, a master chief, and an army sergeant. We'll give our ideas on leadership. And it's on Amazon and combined.
Say the name, please.
Leading at every level, loving as it face, the name of the book. Yes, ma'am. Oh.
Okay, go ahead and take a break, and then we'll about 2 minutes. We'll come back.
It's been around for a while.
12, and and you ain't got to go home. Just lock the door on the way out. Just lock the door on the way out. You ain't got to go home. It's couch over there. We'll reset the room. This is our last workshop part before we get into the case study. And again, the subject of our case study is, as Tiniade said, the Garfield Guards. So we had the picture coming in, and of course it's on your on the flyer. And so I called Hill, and his wife and I worked together, I don't know, 200 years ago at the bookstore, Maria.
Just about 30. Just about 30.
Before children,
Before children,
either
yeah.
one of that children. And he was the archivist at the Naval Museum at the time. And so always says yes. I just appreciate y'all. Always says yes. And now he is the deputy director for the National Museum of Naval Aviation. And yes, there you go. There you go. You're making big money now.
Well, it's still working for the government.
Oh, still working for the government. For that check, okay. Let's pray for Hill, y'all. Okay. So please welcome Hill Goodspeed, and he's going to talk about how to identify military history. So if we can give him a hand, there you go.
Well, thank you for having me, Robin. It's a great privilege to be here, and it's been a special day from the moment I walked in here. As I was telling Robin, as I walked around the corner, I noticed that the plaque outside said this was the site of the first Greek Orthodox church in Pensacola. Well, my great-grandparents' last name was Christopoulos, and they emigrated from Greece, settling here in Pensacola. So for the first time, I'm probably standing in the building where they went to church. So it is really, really added special to be here, in addition to having the chance to share some tips on searching for military history with all of you. As Robin said, I've been at the museum for probably over 30 years, longer than I care to admit. But it's a great place to work, and over time, I've been able to get some good experience in trying to track down military records. So I'll share some of those with you. First of all, there have been, since the nation's 250 years, there have been approximately 41 million people who have served in the U.S. military in some capacity, and it's so that those are 41 million stories that are out there, including many in the room here, relatives, my relatives, everybody's relatives. So there's few families that military service has not touched in some way. So how do you find out about them? And I can just say that the era of digitization has so changed forever how we're able to research things. Because when I first started the museum, if you needed to get a record or from the Navy or the military service, you'd send it off to the National Archives, and you wait about 4 weeks to get a microfilm or something of records. Now it is literally at your fingertips. And same with the collections at the museums. At my fingertips, I can search for images that I used to have to go digging around for. So the National Archives is the best place to start if you are a family member of a veteran. Because as the site here, and by the way, afterward, I have a piece of paper that has all these websites that I'll reference, and I'll hand it out to everyone. And so that's the best place to start. If you have a family member and you are the next of kin of someone who served in the military, you can go onto the National Archives. It's very user-friendly to find out how to access their military records. And what do you get in those records? What can you find? Well, you can get a DD-214, which is the form, which is a summary of someone's military service. It will give a breakdown of when they joined, where they joined the service, all their duty stations, any medals that they received or decorations. You can also get their official military personnel file. And so that will have any piece of paper that's been generated. And the military is like any government agency. There's a piece of paper for everything, so you can see files. I've seen them for people who've served 30 years. They could be this thick. And it's just really all their orders, where they were assigned, any sort of piece of correspondence that related to their service will be in there. And also medical and health records, if they received any sort of medical treatment during their time in uniform. So this is an example. Jimmy Doolittle, who led the Doolittle raid during World War II, this is a document that's in his records. So this is just an example of what you might find. It's a letter. He was in the reserves and he was going over to England to research some engines, and he put a signed letter in there. He wanted to get some credit for active duty while he was doing it. So that you can find a range of things. I was looking at one yesterday for a Medal of Honor recipient, and it's a 3-page letter from one of his former commanding officers describing his personality, his characteristics, things he had done leading up to the action for which he received the Medal of Honor. So there's a whole range of things. You never know what you're going to find in those personnel records. And then the National Archives, in addition to those personnel records, they have other items that might clue you into what your relative may have experienced. So suppose you have the name of your relative, maybe the name of a ship they served on, or a time frame they were in the service, or a unit they were in. You can search on the National Archives and you can find a range of things. So in the case of a ship, if your relative, you know they served on, say, the USS Intrepid, which is an aircraft carrier, during a specific time, they have the logbooks of a ship. If you don't know a ship, there's somebody assigned every day to write out what happens between a particular time during their watch on the ship. And these are very highly detailed records, so you can really know what that ship was doing at any given time. Squadron unit reports. You can go in there, and particularly in the National Archives, if they have a lot of Marine Corps reports from Vietnam, for example. So I've been able to find my father and my father-in-law referenced in particular reports. So now I know, when my father reported into a certain squadron. I know when my father-in-law detached from a certain squadron and what that squadron was doing. So you can get some information that way. There's also enlistment records and casualty records. So just an entire range of things. So here's an example of what a ship's log. 23 March 1965. That is the day that the USS Intrepid picked up one of the Gemini space capsules. So this is it'll describe what they were doing, and anything and everything is generally in this logbook. So the page before this one, they are preparing for the Gemini spacecraft to land. There's an aircraft that had a malfunction that injured a sailor, and then somebody's getting court-martialed on the ship that day. All of that is documented in this particular thing. So it's a really interesting look, and you'll even know what the weather was like when they were actually serving on a particular day. So if you have some element of that from your family, knowing where they served, there are resources out there that you can paint a picture of their service and what they might have been experiencing, what they might have been doing. And all the military services keep their own archives, because the military, it's a different sort of, it's a calling, really. It's not like working for a company or anything like that. The history and heritage of the service is really a bedrock of military service. So all the military services have particular elements in their collection that you can research. And given the fact that I work for the Navy, this is an example. This is the Naval History and Heritage Command's website. There are literally, as Mark talked about photography, there are literally thousands, tens of thousands of images here and also in the National Archives. So again, if you know where your family member served, you can type in, say, USS Intrepid 1964 and in the search box, and it's going to generate all sorts of imagery that they may have, and you can get a picture of what your relative would have been doing on that particular ship on that particular day. And the Naval History and Heritage Command is really good. They have a lot for those of you searching for maybe Korean War or Vietnam era veterans who served in the Navy. They have all the action reports for the various squadrons and ships, and that will tell you day by day what that particular squadron or ship was doing. And there's a dictionary of American naval fighting ships, for example. It's the history of every single ship that's ever been in the United States Navy. And it'll have some of them are very long, and so you can really get a picture of what it was doing. And then the Library of Congress did something, it's probably been over 20 years now. And it was at the behest of Congress. They were realizing that veterans were passing away at a rate, and we were not capturing their stories. So they started the Veterans History Project. And so they went around and they appealed to everybody in communities to interview veterans and to talk to them about their service. And they acquired not only those interviews, their audio, video. They did, if veterans wanted to donate memorabilia from their service, and they all collected it at the National Archives. And now it's a searchable database. And I use it all the time at the museum to try to get details about various things. And you could do it as well. Like suppose you had a relative that may have served in the Army in World War II, for example, and they served on a particular in a particular campaign, even a particular unit. You can search on there and type in details like that, break it down by service, by battle, by theater of war, and it will call up interviews of people that may have been at the same place that your relative was. So no, you're not actually getting what your relative did, but you are maybe hearing an interview or seeing a photograph or reading a diary of someone who was right there where they were. So you get that picture of what your relative might have done. And then you have cruise books. That's another thing with the Navy. We use these all the time. Whenever a Navy ship goes on deployment, the crew will create a cruise book. And what's valuable about those is it's like a high school yearbook, really, or a college yearbook is essentially what it is. It documents what went on in that particular deployment. And say you're trying to, say that you know that you have a relative that served on the USS Forstall in 1958-59, and that you knew that they were maybe in the avionics department or something. You can go into one of these cruise books, and this website has digitized all of these cruise books, and you can search them, and you can go in and maybe you find a picture, a group photograph of your relative with all the other sailors in their avionics division, and that gives you the names of people they served with. And then you can start that will open up all sorts of avenues to research and find things. Let's see. Oh, it may have cut. Yeah, it may have. Yeah, it may have cut off. I don't know what that means. That's a good example. Yeah. And as Mark said, Ancestry.com has changed the face of research, and all their subsidiaries and the databases have been created. And you can start off on Ancestry if you've ever been on. It's a whole page for military records, and you can go in there and type any information you may know about a particular veteran, and it'll pull up things. Like it'll pull up very valuable things are called muster rolls in the Navy, for example, and also squadron rosters. But using in the Navy, for example, it'll have a ship's muster roll, and it'll have a list of names, and it'll tell you who's arriving on board the ship, who's detaching from the ship, and all sorts of details of where they're going after that particular service. So that is very valuable. And also one thing that's really interesting is that you can find, they have all the World War II draft cards. So whenever anybody registered for the draft, they went in and they would document the draft cards. So all of those are on Ancestry.com. And that's Jackie Robinson's draft card. I actually grew up in Vero Beach, Florida, where the Dodgers used to have their spring training. So I'm a Dodger fan. So, but Jackie Robinson's there. And what's interesting, I looked it up. The date he registered for the draft, he was still a college student at UCLA. So about 3 days before he went to register for the draft in October 1940, he played running back, I think, against Texas A&M. And then he had a football game about 4 days after he registered for the draft. And Ancestry.com also has something called Fold 3, which is, this is military records on steroids, pretty much. It has millions of documents. So you can go in there and you can search all sorts of categories. It has some of the more interesting ones. It has all the records of Air Force personnel or Army Air Forces personnel in World War II who were shot down. And it has a record. You can go in there and search by name, and it'll pull out maybe air crew that was shot down and the details of where they were shot down, how they were shot down. It has all, for example, with the Navy, every ship during World War II would have a war diary. It has all the war diaries and action reports that they would generate. And if you put in a name, it'll find that name across millions of military documents. So it's really incredible. I use this probably on a weekly basis to pull information about military service. And then, as was referenced, newspapers.com and also the other database that was referenced. This is a great way to find information, because, especially on the military, because what did what were all hometown communities really proud of a lot, particularly during World War II and all the way, they would always profile local citizens who were serving in the military. And all the human interest stories that would come back from military service would appear in local newspapers. So you can find a lot of just stories that are beyond just the official record. It would be maybe a reprint of a letter that a soldier wrote home from overseas describing what he was doing or anything like that. So, and here's an example. That's a page from the Pensacola News Journal in World War II. So this whole section has to do, it pictures multiple people in World War II, and there's a breakdown, and that way you can find out where they lived, who their parents' names were, and find information that way. And we live in Florida, so every state generally has a state archives that you can search. Florida's is called Florida Memory, and you can go and look at, it has a guide to all the military records it holds and a good searchable database, so you can find a range of photographs, you can find a range of documents of service about how to find out about a family member if they were a Floridian. And then there are archives at colleges, universities, historical societies, and you'll find things ranging from before the Civil War all the way to the modern era. And again, they may not relate to your specific relative, but you may, doing your research, see a particular area where your relative may have served, and you might be able to find somebody else who had served in that various area. And it could be a diary or a letter or what have you. So those are very valuable, particularly because a lot of alumni of various places will donate their items to where they went to school, and you'll find a lot of resources there. And this is a really good one for the Vietnam Archive. Both my father and father-in-law served in Vietnam, so this is at a Texas Tech University, and they've got an extensive Vietnam archives, and it has everything under the sun that you can find. It's all free to find, free to search and to download. There are tens of thousands of images, newspaper clippings, reunion groups of squadrons and units, all the data they've collected, and they've digitized it all. So if you're looking in the Vietnam era, it's a really, really very valuable resource that you can tie together a service of a family member. And I work at a museum, and we get a lot of things as well, because museums are really visible elements of history. We're very public oriented. Like archives a lot of times are not as outward facing, but museums are. So it inspires people to share things with museums that are oftentimes one of a kind. And so I thought I'd conclude today just sharing with you a couple of stories that are items that I find pretty interesting. One has to do with Jesse Brown, and Mark talked about the movie Devotion. And that's a picture of Jesse Brown playing, it's a game called, it looks like backgammon, but in the Navy, it's called AC Deucey. And it's a popular game among aviators. And so he's playing AC Deucey. And for Jesse Brown, born in Mississippi, went to Ohio State University, inspired because of Jesse Owens, and ends up joining the Navy and becoming an aviator. And Jesse Brown, his story is documented in the movie Devotion. Where he was shot down during the Korean War in December 1950, and his squadron mate Thomas Hudner purposely landed his plane in an attempt to rescue Brown, ultimately unsuccessful, and Jesse Brown died in his cockpit in the Chosin Reservoir in December 1950. We had a unique experience at the museum. We had an advanced showing of the movie Devotion. And the director or producer of the movie, you remember Mark showed you the picture of the baby being held by the Blue Angel? The baby who he's holding grew up to be the director of that movie. And so we had a nice advanced showing. And it was a really, I've had a lot of moving experiences at the museum. You meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of veterans. But my wife and my daughter and I went to this advanced screening, and there on our big screen is the footage of it's the scene where Jesse Brown is saying goodbye to his wife and daughter before he goes to Korea. And there's the actress, the little baby, and right in front of us was Jesse Brown's daughter, the one who's being depicted as a baby. And it's a really, really moving experience. So, but Jesse, we have a collection at the museum, which no one else has, which are called aviation training jackets. And what they are the training records of individuals. And I was going through Jesse Brown's, and it was really unique. There's this little piece of paper that just struck me. And it's a form that he filled out when he was joining the Navy to become an aviator. And at the bottom, they were doing a study. They're trying to figure out why people joined the Navy, why they wanted to be an aviator. And so they have all these things that they could check off as their reasoning. It's everything from, hey, I like the thrill of flying, I want to wear wings, a friend of mine did it. But the ones that he checked were really revealing about him, in my opinion. So he checked the box. He wanted a career as a Navy pilot. And the one that also he checked, he said, a desire for experience in aviation for a better future. And that's what that's what joining the Navy meant to him. So I thought that was a really interesting reflection on him. And the final one, this one came about early on in my career at the museum. It was in 1995, and this reveals to you that there's all sorts of official records scattered throughout government agencies, but there are a lot of personal stories that still reside with families, tucked away in those sideboards, like Mark talked about, tucked away in sea chests or whatever in attics. And this was one of those stories. It was 1995. I often tell people working at the museum, if you're a history buff, it's like being a kid on Christmas morning every day. You never know what's going to arrive. A box came to the museum. It's about this big. It was from Pennsylvania. Didn't know what it was. So we opened it up, and on the cover, there was a big bundle of letters and photographs. And on top was a letter, and it said, my brother-in-law served in World War II, and he was impacted by the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. And since it's the 40th anniversary or 50th anniversary after that, I've held on to these letters for years, and I thought I would want to send them to you. So we started to dig into them, and what it was a young man named Raymond Porter. He was from Butler, Pennsylvania, and he had written from the moment he joined the Navy all the way up until about July of 1945. So you're talking about from early 43 to 45. He had written to his parents pretty much every week. And so we started going through these letters. He's describing what Pensacola looked like. Whiting Field had just been built, so he's talking about how muddy and messy it was. He talked about going downtown in Pensacola. And then he started getting closer to going off to war as a naval aviator. And so you started reading these letters, and then it's tough to read here, so I just talked about it. I wrote it down. So February 2nd, 1945, he's getting close to being where he's going to go overseas. And he writes a letter, and he mentions that he was telling his parents that he had been hearing word that some people he'd gone to school with had been killed in action. And he wrote, and I'm quoting him here, he said, I am wondering what it will be like going home after this war and not seeing all these fellows I once knew. It doesn't seem right that so many young fellows should have their lives cut short like this, but I guess that is war. All we can do is hope and pray that it will soon be over. So little did he know, in July of 1945, he and his gunner were flying over Japan and attacking a Japanese cruiser, and he was shot down. And in that box, the most moving letters are the ones that say return to sender unopened. And his turns out he was captured. He was taken into custody. And unfortunately for him, he and his gunner and a whole group of another bomber crew from the Army Air Forces were held at a temporary prison in Hiroshima. And so on August 6th, when the atomic bomb dropped, it inadvertently killed a group of Americans, and that's how he passed. And so this is a reminder to me all the time. I mean, just stories like this is I hold up the 41 million figure. Each one of those individuals, regardless of what inspired them to join the military, like a lot of our family members did, regardless what inspired or what the circumstances, they all have something in common, which is they are willing to serve their country and put their own lives on hold for the greater good of all of us. And ironically, just like some of them are doing in the Middle East as we speak right now. So that is really the essence of military service, and remembering those who served and finding out about our families who have contributed so much to the nation. So thank you very much for having me today. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, happy to answer any questions anyone may have. Yes, ma'am.
Ken Pyle.
Yes, I do know Captain Pyle.
Spoke at our Rotary Club,
Yes.
yesterday, and he was, pretty much identifying the importance of going to the museum to find out information like you're talking about, but also, to really just seal in the fact that there's so much history here in this area, and that we're the ones that this area is the one that's collecting so much naval history from all the wars and the ships and the planes, and so it was really, really interesting. And it's been a while since I've been down and
Yes, it's a beacon of history, really, and it's just when you walk around, working there, you walk around and you'll hear visitors talking, and a lot of times you'll hear maybe a father telling a daughter, well, this is what I flew and this sounded like this, and boy, this landing gear was a bear to work on, I hated working on. You hear all sorts of, so all those little stories are resonate around the place. Absolutely.
very nice.
I guess, ma'am.
On ancestry.com, I found registrations for relatives for like the 1900s. However, I have no knowledge of where to find whether they were in the military or not. They were just registration points where they had to register.
Right, the draft, like Jackie Robinson's registration.
So, knowing that actually they were separated, not registered in those times.
Yes, you can read on the back of Jackie Robinson's. It does.
Research whether they were in the military.
Well, I mean, I think if you go into that on Ancestry, for example, if you have their name and their birth date, it should, if they went into the military, there should pop up some actual records from units they may have been in. It would be, and so it'll cover those draft cards certainly, but it should expand on that in some way if you have that specific information. Yeah, and fold three it'll cert. I mean, for World War II alone, I think there are on fold 3 there must be 13 million documents, or maybe even more than that.
And
So.
there's the link that I sent to the last email, there's a link so you can do the basic, do a free trial,
And here's some of the websites, by the way.
Will have written out by hand the date they were and whether they were in when they actually served, when they were discharged.
Yes, ma'am.
My dad would have been 99 years old today. He was on the USS Erie like in 1945. I have the stuff elongated once he went, I guess, across the date line and lost the trainer.
Right.
But if I wanted to find if there's anyone living here who's from Pennsylvania, the only find if there's anyone living here, they were 99 years old and I have been on the USS Erie. How about maybe do that?
Well, sometimes, like for example, I guess the way I would go about it, if you went in and you found fold 3 is one way to do it, and Dr. Breeze will probably he'll have a good idea too. What you could do is go into fold 3 or something and find the records of that particular ship. And a lot of times, and it's hit or miss, they will have who reported aboard or names of the crew. The ship's logs will do the same thing. It'll note if somebody reported aboard or somebody was detached. And you might be able to find names of individuals who may have been serving at roughly the same time. And then another way to do it is look in newspapers. You can go back and, unfortunately you may find obituaries or something like that. But if you say you found an obituary of an individual who your father served with, and you might be able to, in most obituaries, it's going to be your next of kin, and you may be able to find a daughter of somebody or a son of somebody who may have served, or their dad may have served with yours, and that could be. So it'll take a little detective work, but that's a good way to go about it. And the cruise books, they might have in 45. They don't have a lot of 1945 World War II cruise books on that NAV site, but some of those other records might have some names for you. Yes, ma'am.
I wish I had the pictures with me. I found some pictures showing my father, he was in the Navy, retired in the Navy 22 years. But when the first part of the Navy, they had him as being in reserve.
Yes.
And I was wondering, was that for all the Black Americans that joined that did in the 30s or 40s, and then they had him re-enlist to be in the actual Navy.
Yes. Well, you could back in those days, and it's sort of similar now, but it was more regulated back then. You were either regular Navy or reserve. And so for officers, for example, if you graduated from the Naval Academy, you were regular Navy. If you joined in a different way, it was reserve. So you either joined as a reserve on active duty, or you were in the regular Navy. Now, if you were a high performer, you could actually put in and the term they use is augment. You could augment from the reserve to the regular Navy. And so that sounds like what your relative did. He was able to go into the regular Navy. And
that just wasn't for the Black.
No.
But then on his tombstone, it doesn't have the 2 wars that he fought in, which I said I'll stick to them. And it still didn't change. But
is he in a national cemetery, or is he?
yeah, I think that
I would write to him and say, hey, I mean, because that's that. Yeah, that is standard. I mean, it should.
The other war that he served in, when he went in as a reservist, the war was going on. They needed people.
Right.
And he joined at a young age, 16 or 17.
Yeah.
He kind of forced his age.
Yeah, my wife's grandfather did the same thing. He didn't forge, but he had to get his parents' permission to join early. Yeah, some people just forge their signature. Oh, well, this is this is on the other side of the family. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It should definitely be on there if he and absolutely. That's right. Yeah. You work someplace for 30 years, you know where things are. Oh wow. American Revolutionary Records. I think the National Archives would have some. There's also a new National Museum of the American Revolution in Philadelphia, and that might be a good resource. They could point you in the right direction on where to find some things. And there's a couple of, a lot of times a good way to find where people find things is to find good books where good people, historians have written things. There's a 3-volume series on the American Revolution by a guy named Rick Atkinson. And if you go in the bibliography of there, he probably has documented a lot of different locations where he has pulled resources. So that would also be a good option for you. Yes, sir. Hiroshima, yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm reading it. I Googled it. It says Money Man Taylor on March 12th, March third, 1912, was an African-American scientist who specialized in memory. He was one of the African-American scientists at technicians on the Manhattan Project. He was born in Memphis, Alabama, where I was born in 1912. Went to the University of Chicago. They couldn't get the atom bomb going. They went to the University of Roosevelt, went to the University of Chicago, and acquired him on the Manhattan Project. They created the atom bomb, dropped it over the machine in the world.
That's worthy of a round of applause. Interesting fact is they wanted to keep the Manhattan Project so secret. It was underneath the football stadium at the University of Chicago. That's where they did a lot of the work.
They couldn't take my degree, but they were black. So they had gone into some mission. They were part of the some mission, but they took the project to my jail. To the University of Chicago. They voted on it.
Would y'all do anything?
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
We'll talk with each one to present, figure out what pieces we can send out to you as a follow-up. In a week or so. It's more like, clean it up or whatever they want to do to it. We're at this is where the workshop, you get to work. And so I'm really excited to have, as you've already seen, and we have, I don't know how to. He was the longest serving, longest serving city councilman in Mobile, 25 years. A retired civil service, civil serviceman, postal with the postal service. But what we're here for today is that this picture, we have a full-size picture. This picture, I was showing, we had Kwanzaa here. We celebrated Kwanzaa here at the end of last year, and Amanda was there. And her grandson, they were outside talking after, and my grandson came in. This is what great grandson, get it right, get it right. A great grandson came in, so I was showing this. We had the pictures on the floor at the time, and I was showing the pictures, and I said, "Oh, and this is Captain Isaiah Richardson." And I said, "Oh, your grandmother, your grandmother's name is Richardson." So I said, "Do you know?" I said, "I don't know." So we ran outside, and the girl was out there. She said, "I don't know. Ask Mama." So we got Amanda on the phone. She said, "I don't know. Let me ask my cousin Fred." So we have enjoyed this. My first time meeting him in person, but it really knew his work. So you will know his work. He's the one who started the moon hydrox in Mobile. So you know his part. 18,000 years ago. And so then got a chance to talk with his sister Frances, who's another family genealogist, and he wrote a book from Memphis to Mobile and beyond, The Impossible Dream. So it's available. He just told me the other day, here's 8 books. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one here. Well, I'll get to those. But let me get to those. So would y'all please welcome as we start our case study. It's amazing to have descendants who can actually tell you something. Frederick Douglass, I love that. Frederick Douglass Richardson to Junior. Junior, don't forget the Junior. Thank you, Amanda. Come on back. Come on back. And so one picture belongs to Mr. Fred Richardson. We've done another because Amanda, I got you one in the back, Amanda. Stop next to me. I know you. I got 2. So he can take a few minutes to talk, and then we will start the case.
Yeah, Mr. Reed, I'm going to trade you.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Not yet 12 o'clock, so good morning to everybody. I appreciate this opportunity that Robin gave me to come to talk to you a few moments about my cousin, Isaiah Richardson. Isaiah Richardson was born a slave in a
former enslaved community called Nemps, Alabama. I was born and raised in Nemps. It's where, as a matter of fact, we can go back to 1780. London Richardson was born in 1780. And he was sold as a slave into Nemps, and he had one child, London Jr. And all these other Richardsons came from London Jr. They all were enslaved in Nemps, Alabama. But I wanted to say something different before I even got into this. This is the last day for Black History. We just have to pick one little short month and gave us to celebrate Black History, February. And you know it ain't but 27 days in February. So this is the last day. And I just wanted to say this. There is not but one race of humans. The human race. Ain't no such thing as the black race and the white race. If my color put me into the black race, then black dogs would be in my race, black horses, black cows, because the color will put me in there. What put us in the human race is our function. We can stand upright, talk, laugh, cry, think, plan, reason, read, write. That's what humans can do. Can't no other being do that. And what's defining it? Any human can impregnate, any male human can impregnate any female human on the face of the earth. If we were not in the same species, you can't impregnate nobody else in a different species. Can't no dog get no hog pregnant. If that could help, man would have had a whole bunch of them animals pregnant. You can't do it. One race, the human race, and we all, it is 8 million of us, 8 billion of us, and we all in it. That's business, but you in the white race. In the human race. Anyway, Robin, I want to go back to, I want to thank Robin for inviting me to come here. Isaiah Richardson was born and raised in the same community in Nemps, Alabama. And Isaiah was enslaved there. He was born with a family of 9 children, born to London Richardson Jr. and his wife, Rebecca. His father, London Sr., was born in 1780, according to the U.S. Census. He was purchased by a slave master named Stephen Decatur Miller. And in fact, he was born 4 years after America became a nation, 1776. So we Richardson been in America a long time. Don't let nobody tell you you not know America. We've been here a long time. Ain't no doubt about it. London Richardson Jr. was Jr.'s wife, Rebecca, and their 9 children ended up in Nemps, Alabama, on the large plantation of enslaved Black people owned by slave master Stephen Decatur Miller. And I imagine his family came back because I had to show them where he died. They didn't even know where they buried him. I had to show them. When slavery ended in 1865, London's sons, Goodloe, Enoch, and Isaiah, moved to Pensacola. Adam also had a son of London named Armstead, who moved to Pensacola also. Armstead had sons, Spellman, is that
Spelling,
Terrace, and had a daughter, but had 2 sons.
Yeah, he had 2 sons.
Yeah. Your daddy was
My dad was one of
Spellman. Yeah.
He was the baby.
Yeah. That's right. Adam was also the father of Walter Richardson. My grandmother, who remained in Nemps, Adam was father of Walter. Yeah, Walter Richardson, my grandmother, who remained in there. So Walter and Armstead were brothers. Wow, Walter was one of them. So yeah, but Walter stayed in Nemps. The rest of them, and I don't blame them, they left and went to Pensacola. Y'all had them all. Y'all had them all down in there. Isaiah married Bessie Taylor, daughter of Dan Taylor, Sr. My grandmother, Maggie Taylor Richardson's, no, Isaiah married Bessie, daughter of Dan Taylor Sr. My grandmother, Maggie Taylor Richardson's grandfather, Isaiah and Bessie moved to Pensacola, Florida. My dad used to go down there to see whatever Bessie Corrine. That's wrong, Bessie. I know we went to Haines Street. I know we went to see Bessie. Okay. We will find today that Isaiah, which dismal past, didn't define his future. He's a man that was raised, he was born a slave. It was 1780 before he even left slavery in 1865. He married and stayed in Neptune. He finally moved to Pensacola. What we're saying here is that he was not defined by his past. His past, these Richardsons couldn't be stopped. I'm saying, Isaiah, his past didn't define him. Didn't define his future. His past did not define his future. Isaiah was a highly esteemed, successful man in Pensacola, Florida, in light of all of what has happened to him as a slave.
Francis has the documents, the slave documents where Isaiah was sold for $650. And she also has the documents where the family, before they got into Memphis, came out of Carolina, South Carolina. And in Carolina, when this ancestors first came over, the first owner of those ancestors was the governor. And she also has his will, which he willed so many slaves to his daughters and sons and things. I think he had about 214, 250 slaves.
Yeah, but Stephen Decatur Miller. Stephen Decatur Miller was the son of the governor. They came from Cushing County, South Carolina, where they came from.
He willed.
Yes, he did, and that's how he got the nap. His daddy gave him the slave. But his name was Stephen Decatur Miller Sr. He was the governor. He was a senator, and then he ran for governor. When his son got married, he gave all of our ancestors to him as a gift, and he sold in Neptune. That's how he sold in Neptune, Alabama. Which is.
So let me let him finish, Amanda, for about 1 minute, and then I want y'all to dig into the record. So he's telling us a great backstory, but this part is to be able to dig into the record to get this objective view of who this man. I'll put him back on the screen. So we can take just
I just got a man left. I want to say that I took the ancestry DNA test to find out where in Africa that the Richardsons came from. And I got the test back. And it shows that we are members of the Awe tribe, EWE. We are members of the Awe tribes of Ghana, West Africa.
Yep.
And I have visited Ghana. I have visited Nigeria and Ghana, West Africa. So if you really want to know where we are from, we are from Ghana, West Africa. And in closing, the state of Alabama the state of Alabama Historical Department has approved a 5th state historical marker for the community of NIMS, honoring all enslaved persons who remained in NIMS after slavery ended, and their historic offspring who still reside in the NIMS community today. NIMS is the largest all-Black community in Connecticut County, and being the offsprings of former slaves make this community unique and historical. I was born and raised in NIMS. We were not poor now. I want you to think that. We were poor. Poor mean you had we were poor. I'm the first generation of Richardsons that was born with a school to attend. You can go back to 1780, all the way to me. None of them had not even a school to attend, except. So we were speaking with what Isaiah did. He didn't have no school to go to. We call that anyhow. He made it anyhow. He didn't let none of that stop him. I'm the first one to be born with a school to attend, and the school went to the 9th grade. Each teacher taught 3 grades: first, second, and third, fourth, fifth. In other words, in the first grade, I had 2 hours a day teaching. The other school, white schools, you stayed in first grade for 6 hours. We teachers taught us for 2 hours, so I should have known. I should have been 2/3 behind the white kids. And I'm telling you now, if the law be for you, can't nobody stop you. Even though we had teaching 3 grades, I left NEP, the little school they're talking about. I entered the University of South Alabama. Me and my sister Wilma, we graduated the same night from University of South Alabama. Went back to graduate school. I'm saying it's nothing, slavery, nothing, every trick they threw at us, nothing could stop us from being the best we could be.
David Hawkins' granddaddy was the preacher at the church in NIMS. So when I mentioned this to him, he was like, I got 12 funerals today and I'm going to leave them all there. And come over because they ain't going nowhere. So he said, text me when he gets there because I'm coming over. Yeah. Are the bodies still there?
Yeah, man. Okay. You ready to close. So you know, they're burning and they're funny. You all, I love you to death. I have to put it to you. No, seriously. This gentleman, this family, so you go so far back. I can even tell you, when I was a little kid, I used to come here during the summers and escape for the summers and for holidays. But I had that farm work up in Evergreen, Alabama, and the company got your work of hard. So when I came here, I always said, always. I worked at Happy Peace, Gulf Power, I worked at Joe Marsh for a time, then Kukua Ambassador. So I concur with what you say. You got to do is stay grounded. You got to young people that, there's so many forces out there against you. Please, to take the village. We are. So whatever I do, I'm 100% committed. Most of y'all know that, city council lady. You know it. She's scratching my pocketbook all the time.
I have to tell you what you said. Yeah. That's what I need to do, is to let you know that you're about every one of you. It's one thing to say, I come from here, these are my roots, but it's another thing to show you. You're such God bless you.
I'm gonna get a picture with you and Fred. Would y'all start, as I get this picture, would y'all start on either using ancestry.com if you have it, or Family Search, which is free, or even Fold3. So he's already told you some of it, but here's some good leads. Isaiah Richardson, his father, and a mother there. So go ahead and start, and we'll take about 15 minutes to do that. And John, if you can just mosey around and help. Tenyade, if you can help. I know you can come here to work. Amanda, come on, step up in there on the other side. You ain't from them, but you close enough. You a Richardson. No, she a Richardson. She a Richardson. Got it. Got about 15 minutes. Go ahead and start your research on that. If you got a partner up, if you don't have a computer or something in front of you, and because we're gonna report out in 15 minutes. Hill, if you'll help, if you wanna, anybody gets into any stumbling block. So find out as much as you can about Isaiah Richardson. And we know he was in Pensacola. And he's already told you, Fred told you, but then there's his mother and father there. So maybe find their birthday, find out who. Just you can go to Ancestry if you have that, or Family Search. Either one. FamilySearch.org is free. That's right. Or if you have newspapers, or Chronicling America is free as well. Library of Congress also has things. So find out whichever angle you're doing, just find out something, a little bit of something about them. And if you need a sheet, we got some extra sheets up here too. Uh-oh. Born in 1847. We don't know when he died, so we say circa around that 1909. We know sometime between 1909 and 1910. So if somebody can find his death certificate, I'm gonna name my next grandchild after you. Well, if you can find the birth certificate, that would be amazing, because in 1847, I don't know, but you can find the death certificate. Because, wow, okay, online, okay, there you go. Okay. Oh, I need to take this off. Oh, okay. Thank you. This has been amazing. Some good different angles that we talked about. So I like that. And then I'll send a follow-up email probably Monday or Tuesday to see what parts y'all want to share. If you want to share the whole deal, okay, it's fine. Okay, I just put it in like a PDF and send it out to them. Yeah. So it'll be interesting, because I like the way that Amanda somehow. So it's a couple of Betsy's in there. I think he married a Betsy with Elizabeth, and he married her. Yeah, and then there's some other Isaiahs too. Okay, so it's like this. The names, yes. Oh my goodness gracious. The first time I was confused with the census, I don't remember his name, and maybe Evan, but his last name. at when the genealogy library was on the Pensacola State campus.
Yes.
But he told me, he said if you find one source, if you find two, that's good. He said find at least three sources to cross-reference it. So the first time I ran into that was tracing Viola Edwards on the hospital, and in 1910 she's here, and in oh my goodness, Wetumpka, Alabama. And I thought, well, it's the same thing, same, you know. And so it turns out her husband, who was from here, William, worked on the railroad. He was a federal postal. So like she went, so I forgot to look at the date, but I think one is maybe April, one is June. So it's like, you can't be in two places at one time. Okay. That's a good thing about orphan records. Oh.
Signs up for the baby. So the guidance recruiter is Rick's name. He gives him the form to sign. And he said, he sees his name spelled M-A-C.
Oh, it's at an MC.
He goes up to the recruiter, my name's spelled wrong. I want to be. And the guy said, yes, your Matt.
Wow, change his name. That's like a modern day Ellis Island deal, huh? My name is Johan. No, it's John.
Yeah.
My Lord. Wow. Wow. Yes, ma'am. Isaiah is who we're tracking, but you may find some other Isaiah. You're yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, let's find out. In Alabama. Connecticut. Let's find out. Let's find out. Huh? Oh, okay. I'm gonna talk about your quote on the end, but did y'all find anything about Isaiah? This is a case. This is a work study. Y'all supposed to be working in here. Find a little something about them. So we'll talk pictures, because some of y'all brought pictures, and the quilt and the photos. I got it. Keep going. I got it. Yeah. Don't you sign my book too before you leave?
So I think I found the right Isaiah Richardson.
Okay.
But then if I'm trying to get to like information on his, would it be the journal?
So Taylor is her. So Taylor is her maiden name. So you always put the wife's maiden name.
Oh.
So her name is Betsy Richardson, but her maiden name is Taylor.
So if I got this, now what do I do after? I
Now
do
you
it?
want to go back.
And then,
So you know
What
that
do I-
that's the one you're tracing.
Okay.
So sometimes it gives you hints. I'm not good on the phone with
Okay.
those, but if you look on
like,
line,
I
it may give you a little bit more screen, yeah, to see.
I
But
didn't load it on there, unfortunately.
No,
but I can.
but
Do
you
I
have
to?
no, you don't have to load it on there. So as long as you have the internet there, yeah, Lord. Oh, Teniate. And so let me just give you, so if you turn it that way, it may give you some more, yeah, to get a wider screen, but it's not, yeah. Are you in an app or
Yeah.
Oh, you went to the app.
So I'm in the
search?
search. Yeah, I'm in family. Can I get on the family search?
Yes, you can get on the family search, yes. Yes. Yes, sir.
Richardson from Nymph, Alabama.
He's from that. Well, she asked, and I said, "Let's see."
Okay, from Alabama. Was he from South Carolina?
Let's see.
You gonna make this a
What?
That he's here somewhere.
Yes, he is there. I promise you, we didn't make him up. What did the guy say? Give him 2 + 2. Don't give him 4.
Now,
And she's a.
but interestingly, it doesn't show the parents. It shows the spouse and the kids.
Oh, what a. Oh, his wife's his name's what? His name what? Uh-uh.
We have to listen.
Yes. Oh, no, you ain't going down that line. We ain't going down that line. Somebody it wasn't this, it wasn't that. No. You gotta look. We didn't give you her name. That's his mother and father. Yeah. Are you what site are you at? Oh, it's on Family Search. So you're in somebody's record instead of going to the actual records. You should go to the actual. There you go. Okay, we'll take 1 more minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, and then we'll see what you discovered. 1 minute. One minute.
Right. You showed it, it makes sense.
Oh. Hold it there. Y'all hold it there. Michelle said, I'm getting this history. But they are people. Oh, wow. Lady J. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh. So he's gonna have to head back. Here, Here, let me get one. Let me get one with Fred. Let me get one with Fred. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Oh, come on, babe. Come on, babe. Hold on. Come on, babe. We're gonna get you in the middle of the shards here. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What's your new phone, Rob?
Yes.
What's your new phone?
Uh-huh.
That's nice.
It's not. You know Lloyd Richard. I know, right? Oh, sorry. Yes.
Was number one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But have you looked at the record to see? It's probably just a typo thing. Go into
Yeah,
that.
I know it's because of the siblings that are down.
Okay, there you go.
So that's not a problem. But what she's trying to find is something that gets her beyond 1880. Was that 1880? 1886.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which listed her.
So you can go to Alabama. Alabama Archives has records. The state of Alabama archive records. Okay, okay.
So the best place to look for this in something right would be where another place.
So I would also look in the newspaper. So here's that they're giving you a hint over here in
Yeah, but that's
1870. But it doesn't matter. Go ahead and look at it and see. I clicked on it mistakenly. I know, but I'm telling you, don't look at this detail. Look at the actual record. And look at the actual record. Don't let this fool you. Look at the actual record. You always look at not the index. You always look at the record because you will get dissuaded on that. I'm not saying that's not her, but you're not looking at the record. Click on the record. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it back in, up, around. And Hattie Grace just pointed out something. She was looking at something. When you're looking at the indexes, that information that they've done, remember, a human is transcribing it or an AI is transcribing it. Click on the actual record. Because in her case, she was looking for an ancestor and she said, I'm going to tell what she said, that's not because it says white. But look at it though. Because if someone is, and Tiniane will correct me on this, but especially here in Florida and along, what were we, Louisiana, what was all that? Louisiana, we're part of Louisiana. So you will see mulatto and all of that, which in New Orleans, it may depict one thing, but here it may depict skin color and not necessarily ethnicity. So I may be, if me and Dr. J are in the same family, we're siblings, they may say me Negro, and they may say she's mulatto. So it may be skin color, but when you look at the index, click on the actual image, because remember, as Dr. Beasley said, these are humans who are transcribing this, or in our case today, AI. So don't just look at the stuff that they print out, go and look at the thing for yourself. Look at it for yourself. Yes, ma'am. And people were passing. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what you have. All right, y'all, let's wrap it in. Let's see, let's just go to Vicky, Dr. J, what did y'all find? Anything over here? Okay, can y'all listen up? Let's listen up real quick. Still looking? Okay. Anybody else on this side? What did y'all find?
Information.
Okay, good.
What I found his dad, that his mom was actually Rebecca Richardson, and his wife was Betsy Taylor Watson.
Okay, so both his wife and his mother were Betsy's. Oh, well, yeah. Wasn't it one his wife and one was listed as Bessie, one was listed as Elizabeth. But no, I'm just saying, or Rebecca, yeah. So that may be a nickname. A nickname. So when you're hold on. I just want to make sure that that you get that may be a nickname. I need for you to sign my book before you go. I'm not gonna chase you down, but I'm gonna chase you down. Oh, we need to get you your picture too here, Mr. Richard. No, I got you one back there, Amanda. Leave him alone. Oh, let me give you a bag. Okay. What other information did you find? Anybody else on this side? Yes. Okay, so let's go down and see what else somebody else found. Any on this side, John? Y'all got anything over there you want to share? Not yet. Okay, what about on this side over here? Anybody on this side over here? Karen? Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Atkins, Carla. So you can hear me. Okay, I do the same thing. There's a bag for you.
It appears that he was in the United States colored troop. And from 1863 to 1865, which was assigned to
Y'all listen real quick so we can hear.
Which was the same time my grandfather was in the United States colored troops.
Okay.
But I was looking for a specific regiment, and this one looks like the 7th colored infantry.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for specific information, anything dealing with the 82nd Regiment Company F. And it appears that pictures, anything dealing with that regiment is like.
So there is before I go back to your point, there is an African American Civil War, help me out, a museum no, African American Civil War in Washington, D.C. So there is, and they have records. So we found John Sunday on there, so they have records of those.
What is it?
It's the African American, hold on, y'all, hold on, so we can hear. African American, thank you. He's gonna look it up to make sure I tell you, yeah. Yeah, and the U.S. colored troops are in that.
Yes, my grandfather's leadership on the wall is stand there, his name.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to trace back to the slave owner.
Okay.
Because my grandfather was a slave as well as his father.
Okay.
And that was my real interest, because I wanted to see pictures of these individuals, as well as an uncle that's buried here at the historical cemetery on H Street.
Okay.
So I was looking for pictures, and when I looked for Frank Ishmael, it would go with the records were destroyed, right? Before, I could get anything. So that's what piqued my interest when I saw that this individual was a part of the United States culture.
And so that's another way. So again, he'll mention Fold 3, even Family Search and Ancestry have some military records on there. The bulk of them are probably on Fold 3, but then also you can go to other states too. So when I trace people from here with the Spanish-American War, particularly because my interest is African-American, so when I trace them, I have to go to the Alabama archives because there is a contingent there. So it's, again, he mentioned going to the different states. John mentioned Indiana. So you have to go to the different states. So don't let the records tell you no. Just keep being nosy, keep being nosy, keep being nosy. If you run into a wall, just settle down and then go around. Just let it rest and then go around. So yeah, you can, I know it goes. So who else found something over here? Anybody else? Y'all go ahead, Rita. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. It has Lynn. Okay. Okay. Y'all, can y'all hold, are y'all hearing this? I just want to make sure that we're all in, okay?
Rebecca Richardson,
Okay,
then it goes down to Andrea Richardson.
okay,
And then it has pantry number 2, and London Richardson, the father, 1805.
okay.
So is that the London Richardson that he was speaking of?
It may be, it may be.
Rebecca Richardson, which is the mother, and then again, Andrea Richardson and Becky Taylor.
Okay, good. Good. So you found some of the same thing. Good. So that's another thing. Just like John mentioned, go on Facebook, go on other people's, if they let you, because some people put it to private. Go on their trees. But again, do your own research, because some people will have you. They'll be kin to Hill, they'll be kin to Brian, and they'll be kin to Oprah. And you're like, how did that happen? Because they just put the records, or they let AI determine that. And so, Isaiah's name repeats in the family. London's name repeats in the family. It comes up, I think, as Lyndon. What's the other name that y'all are saying? You say it's Goodlow, but it's Goodlore. So you have to click on those records for yourself. And don't just take one record for gospel. Try to get at least 3. If you get 2, that's great, but try to get at least 3 sources. Cross-reference those. Thank you. Try to get at least 3. Yeah. So anything before we close? Okay.
And of course, I think Robert that did not fill out a draft card, and I knew he didn't go into the military. That's why I had the first.
Okay.
So I followed them all the way down. But then I followed another OB, like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
Same little town.
Yeah.
Same here.
Thank you. Y'all give it up for Mr. Fred Richardson, and wishing you a safe travel back. Okay, so just a couple of things. Number one, thank y'all so much for coming. Thank y'all for staying extra. Really do appreciate that. It's a great opportunity not only to meet your family in history, but to figure out how to meet more of your family, as Hill and John and Mark are sharing with you. Yes, sir. Oh, yes.
On Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock, Wednesday afternoon, they will work with you on your work.
And they are now at the downtown branch, up on the 2nd floor. At the
downtown main branch, second floor.
On the 2nd floor. So that's Thursdays at 1 o'clock, just right around the corner here. And if there is a paid site, if you go to the library, you can access it most likely for free, including ProQuest and some of the literary sites as well.
ProQuest will give you all of the Peninsula Media back for over
100+ years, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the last thing that I want to say in terms of this, your research, please save it to your own file. And I know you can go in and put it into their files. You can put it on your tree, but save it to your own file as well, because at some point you may not either renew your subscription or Ancestry may go away, God forbid. But you want to have your own things. We're seeing when we try to access some things with the Library of Congress now, it's a wall up there now for some reason. I don't know that it's political or what, but make sure that you just save your own things to your own records. And then the next step is just printing it out. Print it out. Good old paper. That's why we got a lot of these documents like Hill had with the letters, because paper ain't going nowhere. I know that's bad English, but paper ain't going nowhere. And finally, these are, I want to point out, talking about art, history in other ways, these are photos that Mark did, that he's loaned to us, that he did on the train in London during his graduate studies, he said, and you can read all about it there, but these are actual photos. So that's one way that you can, again, take in the history, that history comes through art, that these are actual photos, they're not paintings, these are photos. The other way, if you see this incredible quilt behind me, we had this, yeah, I know, we had this exhibition last weekend, and the quilter is here today, Miss PJ Gasson. PJ, raise your hand. She lovingly let us keep it up. I'm so grateful for her. But this is her way of documenting her neighborhood called Baptist Town, which is in Greenwood, Mississippi, in LaFleur County, Mississippi. And she documented this. This has been a 6-year effort. And so if you get it, we've gotten it on our Facebook or YouTube site. So if you missed that on Kukua Institute, you can go and get that. And so again, y'all join me in thanking Brian Wire with the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber of Commerce, Dr. John Beasley with the West Florida Genealogy Society, in his absence, Mr. Mark Hopkins with Mark Hopkins Designs, I forgot. And then finally, Hill Goodspeed with the National Museum of Naval Aviation. And as they've all agreed, we will send out their oh, I'm gonna get you. Don't worry, I'm coming back to you. They will all share their presentations, and a lot. And then where did Amanda go? Fred and Amanda Richardson. I know she's coming back in because her stuff is here. Oh, they're talking outside. Okay, so let's thank them for being present. And then finally, I do tease about Tiniade being an archivist, but archiving and assessing this information is so important because of professionals like Hill and Tiniade. We have this information. So Tiniade is a fierce proponent of saving photos and archiving those photos, and I'm just so grateful for her. So that's what I want to say about you, ma'am. Okay. Okay. And thank y'all. Y'all thank my fine, smart husband, our production, cameraman, tech man, everything man. And again, there's still food there. Again, thanks to Brian, there's still food there. Look at this amazing quilt. Don't touch it. Just get real close to it. Get real close to it. And meet each other. Meet. And so thank y'all so much for coming out. And we'll see you for genealogy next year. Right, John? The answer is yes. Right, Hill? The answer is yes. Okay. Right, Brian? The answer is yes. Okay. All right. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. You say thank you. Yes. Good. Yeah.